I want to thank Best Buy for sponsoring this video. What's up everyone, Be the Installer here. I am going to be going over the best TV deals that you can find right now. We're in this between time before new TVs come out, but there's still a lot of great deals. I will be going over my favorite 3 TVs of the year, as well as going over a bunch of questions that people have asked me over the last couple months. So first, we're gonna start with going to one of the deals that I still think is probably the best QLED deal on the internet, and that is for the Hisense U8K. Now this TV is fantastic, and I have put up here this 75-inch version of that because that's the one that we had in the house. And I'm a big fan of this TV. It has really good color, really good backlight system. I didn't think it had very much blooming for a mini LED TV, which it is, and I really liked it. And the reason I like it best is because for this 75-inch TV, it's only $1,200. And that's still really expensive for a TV. Most people are looking for something less than that. But if you're looking for a really fantastic 75-inch TV, this U8K is one of the best. I do like that it has the Google TV operating system too, which is the same thing that like a Sony would have, a lot of the TCLs would have. So it's a very common operating system. I use a lot of Google products, so they kind of all interact. You're able to find all of your shows that you watch, movies, set up. It's very interactive and very nice. So Hisense has come a long way in the last couple of years, and I think this is one of the absolute best buys you can find on the internet for a 75-inch, and they also have 65-inch here, which is $949. So again, these TVs are still, in the middle range of how expensive a TV of this size can be, but for the most part, this is one of the top TVs you'll find at this price. And as we go, if you have any questions or comments about any of these TVs, make sure to hit me up in the comments below so that I can answer them before the next video comes out. Another TV that I really think is a great deal is the LG C3. I've always thought that the C series from LG has been a fantastic buy. It's just a really nice looking TV as well as high quality. So it's one of those things that once you have it in your house, people will be like, wow, that TV looks so awesome. The quality is fantastic. And this 65-inch is a little bit more expensive than that Hisense. It's $1479, and at that price, it's definitely one of those things where, well, would you recommend this for $949 or go OLED for $1479? That's definitely a tough choice. Both of them are great for gaming, great for movies. I mean, you can't really go wrong. This is a little bit more expensive. A lot of people, though, would like an LG and think that the OLED is a little better. So that's one of those debates that you guys can have. But I think this is a fantastic price. And I actually saw this on the Best Buy app. I recommend that you guys check that out because a lot of the price points can be found very easily on there. A lot of the things that I've looked at recently show up down here in the recently viewed, and then the prices update. So it's very convenient. These are a lot of the TVs I'm going to be talking about. So definitely download this app. You can also just do a quick search for the LG C3 and see that, the prices come up so quickly on this. And you can see here the 65-inch is $1479, whereas the 77-inch is $24.99. So it gives you kind of quick comparisons. Also the 55-inch, $12.49. And what I thought was really cool as I did this on the app is that now I can see that they have the 42-inch, only $824. This is actually less expensive than it was before, and the 48 is $914. So things that you can get on the app, especially if you're members. So check this out. Another thing that I thought was pretty cool in the app was the live drops. This is something that is only available on the app. Now, some of these products are a little bit more random, but if you're looking for a hair straightener or a vacuum, all these things, looks like there's a lot of Dyson stuff on here. You can just check out all the different drops that are going on today, notify you when they're starting, which ones are currently dropped, and you can see all the price points. So a lot of benefit for this. And then the last thing that I use the app for, which is probably the most important reason, is that when I go and purchase something, if I'm in the store and I need to, return it, I can just go in here and find it in my orders, and it's very easy. So we actually bought the X Series S, right? And I got it for Christmas period. And then the X Series X actually went down in price. So I was able to return this. I'm a Best Buy member, so I had 60 days. I actually got the X Series X for the same price as this, so we could put the discs in and everything, and I got a $50 gift card. So a lot of benefits, and then you can see there I have a 24-month protection plan on it, on the different things because I'm a member. So a lot of reasons to use the app. We'll get back into the TVs here now in a second, but definitely download this from the link in the description. Now, to get back into some of the other deals on the website here, we do still have the LG B3, which is a little bit less expensive than the C3, but now I'm wondering, is it worth going down only $80 to get the B3 when the LG C3 is $1479? Now, I would say that most people, especially gamers, would prefer to have the extra ports that can game 4K 120 of the C3 over the B3. This has 4 HDMI ports that all can do the same stuff, whereas the B3 only has 2. In addition, the C3 is a little bit brighter. So when you're talking about $80 difference for a 65-inch TV, this is not quite as good of a deal as that other one was. So this is why the LG C3 is such a good deal at this point. And then one of the TVs that we've been talking about for the last couple of months, I didn't have the opportunity to have in the house, but a lot of people really like this Samsung 77-inch S89C. They like it because of the price point. It's much less expensive than the S90C. This is $21.99 right now for 77-inch, and this is $26.99. So that is $500 difference. So really there's no difference in the TV except for the stand, I guess. Again, this is something that I haven't had in the house. I had the S90C, absolutely loved it. So if this is the same quality, and this is only available at Best Buy, and it's only available in the 77-inch, this is a great price. The reason I say it's a great price, even though it's expensive, is because a couple years ago, even off season, you couldn't buy a 77-inch OLED. Typically, it was like a Master Series Sony OLED or maybe one other, LG OLED. There weren't that many opportunities to get 77-inch a couple years ago, but they were like $3,500 at this point. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have bought a 77-inch a few years ago and you paid that $3,500 up to $5,000 for a 77-inch. So you can probably agree with me that $2,200 for a 77-inch QD-OLED that's 2 years in now, and Samsung's killing it with these OLEDs, is a really good price point. And I would highly recommend this TV as well. And again, these are all linked in the description. Now, the 77-inch S90C doesn't look as good at $2,700. So we'll just move on, because instead of spending that extra $500 on one model up that may not be any different, I would consider buying something like this Samsung Q990C sound system to go with that, because it's $1,300, and if you combine that along with this TV here, this is still the exact same price as if you bought the top S95C QD-OLED for $3,500. So would you rather have the very top Samsung, which might be a little bit brighter, or have this Best Buy only 77-inch model plus an entire sound system for the exact same price? I would probably choose the 77-inch S89C and the sound system, because the speakers are not that great in this TV, and unless you have a system already set up and you have $3,500 just to blow on a TV, it's definitely a better deal to get the TV and the sound system. So things to think about indeed. Now, last one for Samsung is this 85-inch QN90C. Another TV that kind of blew my mind for the price point, because a couple years ago, or even a year ago, I made a video about the best TVs under $3,000 at this size. And man, it's crazy how much change has happened in just the last year or so, because there was only like one model of QLED, the QN85C or D or B or whatever it was, available under $3,000. I think it was like $2,800 at the time I made that video. And now you have the most mainstream Neo QLED from Samsung at 85-inch for only $2,400. So enormous TV. I think most people would be happy with that like Samsung. Are there better price points for TVs nowadays? Yes, but still, this is a great deal from Samsung, 85-inch. I think a lot of people would like it. And if you want to go to one of those TVs that's just a little bit better priced, this 85-inch Sony, the X90L, is actually $200 less, $2,200. A lot of people like this Sony. It's a very good Sony TV. Again, I'm going to be doing an installation for this soon for somebody. Full array local dimming, does not have mini LED, but if you go up to the mini LED version of this, it's $3,500. So you're talking about another $1,300 to get the mini LED version. And to be honest, you're taking it to a different price point. Very hard to just say, tomato here. Is this great TV? Yes, $3,500. I don't know about that. So definitely good here with the X90L, and that's why it makes it so easy for me to recommend something like these Hisense TVs that are far less. Because again, 85-inch U8K MiniLED TV here is only like half the price of that Sony. So is it half the quality? There's no chance this is half the quality. It's definitely better than that, and I would probably get this 85-inch Hisense U8K just one step under that U8K I just mentioned before, but still really good. And then if you go all the way up to their 85-inch UX, which is like the top of the line Hisense, now you're talking about, same price point. So a lot of good TV deals still on Best Buy's website here. I checked out to see if Sony had a deal on these soundbars that pair well with their TVs, and this is the HDA7000, which I have. I love it. It doesn't look like it's really on sale though. Still a great soundbar, and you can pair that with their sub, their rear speakers. I mean, that's a pretty penny for a sound system, but it's pretty solid. But yeah, no, that's not necessarily a deal right now. So right before I get into some of the questions that people have had that I think will help you, I wanted to go through the top 3 TVs of the year. This is something I've done in a couple of videos. So again, Samsung came through with the S95C QD-OLED. Now, right here on this page, you can just see the price point between their top QD-OLEDs so everyone can see, yes, this 77-inch S95C is the best. It's $3,500 though. Most people would say that this 77-inch S90C is totally worth it and it's $800 less. And then you have the S89C, which is down to $2,200. So right here is kind of the conundrum we're having with the Samsung QD OLEDs. If you're buying on Best Buy, which is right here, $2,200 for 77-inch, fantastic. I don't know if the S90C is even better. Probably not worth that. Now, the S95C, definitely better, very bright, similar gaming features, little cooler look, has a 1 connect box. So those things, if you need them or want them, this is the best. But again, $1,300 difference. You could go buy this Q990C soundbar system and have that included and then be all set. But that's something that you guys can consider. I still think that Samsung TV is pretty awesome though. All 3 of these would be fantastic. And then the second best TV in my opinion was the LG G3, MLA technology, cool wall mountable TV. I think it rivals the Samsung frame and how it handles art, but this is far better TV than the Samsung frame. Of course, the price point dictates it better be at $2,300 for just a 65-inch. And again, if you go 77-inch, it's the same price as that Samsung at $3,500. So very expensive. I would definitely consider getting the C3 if you're, not necessarily worried about how it looks on the wall, because the C3 and B3 still look really good, similar to how the Samsung OLEDs look. These LG OLEDs are all fantastic and all top tier TVs, but this is what I think is the second best TV of the year. And then the TV that I think is the best is the Sony A95L. It was kind of unanimously top TV of the year and most of the shootouts and all that. I like this because it's got the Sony processing, upscaling, fantastic. It is a QD OLED made by Samsung Display, so basically got the same panel that the top Samsung has, but this one has got all the Sony processing, and I think it's fantastic. Same Google operating system that I really like and am used to, and this is definitely not on sale either. This is just a 65-inch and it's $3,300. So, it is great, but how great is it when you can go to the Sony A90L and get something that's far less expensive? So for example, right here, you can get a 77-inch Sony with the same XR processor, heatsink and all that, $2,700 for a 77-inch, or you can buy the 65-inch top model for an extra $500. That seems kind of weird to me. I think I would definitely consider getting the 77-inch A90L, and if the 65-inch, you're talking about $2,000 versus $3,300. So again, you're saving $1,300 if you get the second model down. This is still fantastic. And if you get that A90L and save that $1,300, and look, now you can go ahead and get that HT A7000 sound system. And again, I think getting the second best Sony with the big soundbar definitely will be better than having just a TV alone. So those are the best 3 TVs in my opinion, and a couple alternatives that I would recommend. Now, I did get a couple questions. So the first question that I got is, I need your buying advice. Should I buy the QLED 75-inch or the TCL 85-inch Q6? Please help me make a choice. Please, 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 please help me. That is a very serious question, and it's funny because I get a lot of people that are really splitting hairs on these, and I understand that pain. So here is a 75-inch QLED 80 at $1,100, and at the same time, the 85-inch Q6 from TCL is also $1,100. So same price. Now this is a 60 hertz panel. It is a QLED. Where this is a QNED, it is a 120 hertz panel, but I would say I'd probably go with size here. If you're gonna get an 85-inch for $1,100, this is probably a better deal. You also could look at the Q7, which is 120 hertz, but that's $1,700 for an 85-inch. That is a big jump up of another $600, so that's something that I might not recommend. So probably for me, I would say get the 85-inch, just go with size there. Then I got another question that says, trying to decide between this, which was the X93L MiniLED from Sony, or the Hisense U8K 75-inch. And if you're trying to compare same sizes, it's not very hard for me to make that recommendation. The 77-inch X93L is $2,800, whereas that 75-inch Hisense that I recommended is only $1,200. So I'm definitely not paying more than twice as much to get that Sony MiniLED. You got basically the same operating system in the Hisense. You have MiniLED, you have gaming features that probably are better on the Hisense, to be honest. So I would probably say just get one or even two of these Hisense 75-inch just because of the price point. Now, if you're asking me between that Hisense and the 75-inch X90L, that's a little bit closer in price point, but this is still $500 more. So still difficult to recommend either one of these Sonys over that Hisense when it's a much better price. Now, another comment that I got, which was pretty funny, is the best for rich people TVs. Next time, do a best for normal people. That's a good comment. I know that sometimes people catch these videos that are not in the TV space and they're like, yo, I can't afford any of these, which is probably true for most people. So that's why I wanted to really quickly just go in and check out, if you go into these top deals, click on TVs and projectors, and then go down. You can scroll forever and find TVs that are at any price point, including some mounts and all this. So really quickly, I'll go over a couple of these. These are some of those TVs I had mentioned right here. Hisense TV, great. QM8 is great. Those are good for larger TVs. If you get down into these smaller ones, you can get into the $300-$400 range. You know, again, it's kind of hard to differentiate some of them, but I probably would not pay $400 for that specific Samsung. I definitely would consider this 43-inch UQ75 for $260. Most people should be able to afford that if they're looking for a TV. And I've gone into multiple neighbors' houses of mine and seen that they have like 43-inch TVs that they've had for like 10 years at this price point. So there you go. That's another TV that most people could consider. Again, we get back down into some of these OLEDs that are really high price point, but here, this X80K is a pretty good TV, $600, although it's not on sale. So just go to the top deals and search. I can't give you my recommendations on every single one of these and which one is the best, but there are all kinds of them that are pretty low priced. So I hope that helps. Go into the top deals, go by size, find one that's maybe 60 hertz or 120 hertz, 4K, has an operating system you like. And, you know, check some of the user ratings here because people will complain if they don't like them. That's how I would look for normal people priced TVs, to be honest. So next question. This is the millionth time that you've praised the S5 98-inch. That's it. I'm buying it. There's no way the Hisense U8K is justified for double the price, right? So the 98-inch S5 is a TV that I absolutely love. It's $2,000. When I bought it, it was this $3,000. So it's even a better deal now. And if you put it up against the Hisense products that he's talking about, the 100-inch Hisense here MiniLED, $3,500. Even this new 100-inch U76, which is, you know, full array local dimming, $3,000. Both of them unavailable nearby for me. So they might be available in your area, and you can decide if you think it's worth paying an extra $1,000 to get that full array local dimming. But for me, I had the TCL, and I didn't think that it lacked the contrast to a degree that it made me angry. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this TV is awful. It's actually fantastic, and it has really good highlights. I think the fact that it's direct lit and doesn't have the local dimming gives it much more shine. I think some of the TVs that have local dimming that are lower price points then can't necessarily control the algorithm fantastically, and you might get blooming, you might get issues. So I think this is a no-brainer. It's absolutely a no-brainer. If you have the room for a 98-inch TV in your house, how can you go wrong with this for $2,000? Look right below it. Someone asked me to compare it to this QM8, which is the next one up for it. Yes, the QM8 is mini LED, full local dimming and all that, better contrast, but it's 3 times the price. And in addition, it's not great off angle, and having all those dimming zones does suppress the highlights to a degree when you're watching HDR movies and all that. So I think most people, it's not even close. Just go get the S5 if you're looking for this giant size TV and be done with it. I tell you, you will be happy. Okay, then I have another question here. They say, hey, sir, I'm confused. Please help me. Samsung QN90C 65-inch, X90L from Sony 65-inch, or go with the A80L 65-inch OLED. Which is the best? Please tell me. Well, the best is going to be the A80L here. I mean, I think that's the best TV. It's an OLED, it has a heatsink. It's, going to be awesome. Fantastic. $2,000 though. If you go back to that other Sony, you're talking about $1,200 for an LED version of a Sony with good processing, all these, good motion, good lighting control, not the most dimming zones in the world, but still pretty good TV. And then you have the Samsung you're speaking of, QN90C. That's right in the middle of the other two. So very difficult to say which to buy. This is a pretty good price point here, but if I had to choose, I might go up to the Sony OLED. But if you're asking which is the best TV, it's probably going to be this one, in my opinion. And then the second best would probably be this QN90C. And then, this is this, second mini LED, or it's the second LED TV from Sony, the X90L, which is typically pretty good. Most people would probably have a hard time noticing the difference between this and the Sony OLED unless they were in a bright room or if they're watching really bright full screen content. I think this is just fine for most people. So you really can't go wrong except for the prices. This, is half the price of the other one. So maybe this would be my choice for which one to buy. And then last question for today. Someone asked, which TV do you recommend for outdoor entertainment area? I've heard the outdoor TVs are not the best quality and box exists to protect TVs that are not specifically designed for outdoors. That's a great question. I absolutely agree. I would not buy a really expensive outdoor TV unless it's just fantastic and you have like super, super bright area, because you can buy pretty much any TV for outdoor and either have it under a little bit of cover, put a, one of those covers over it that you can take off when you're watching it, or just put a TV on a cart and roll it in and out of the garage. That's another option. So for me, it would just be probably using the worst TV in your house. If you want to upgrade a different room, that's what I would do, is use the old TV, put it outside. That's what I've done a couple times. We have a TV like this Hisense U8K here, similar to this, that's outdoors. So this is like a $750 65 inch, probably still too expensive, but I wouldn't go any higher than that for sure. If you're looking at something like the other person had on that comment, I'm looking at getting the Terrace. I mean, that's like a $5,000 TV. So I don't know that I would, do that necessarily. They have some other companies that make outdoor TVs that will be even less, but it's something to think about. I would probably just use any of those budget TVs that I spoke about earlier, or just use an old TV and then upgrade a different room. So that's my advice for that. So those are all the questions that I could find. If you have more, definitely comment below and let me know. Smash the like button. It helps get the video out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And check the links in the description below. All the TVs we're speaking about are down there. And of course, you can get the app on that top link. Download the app, become a Best Buy member, all that. And we'll see you guys in the next video.